Deep in the city of Fort Worth, Texas, there's a modest barbecue food truck where something extraordinary is happening. This is Sabar BBQ, and it's run by pitmaster Zain, where he's blending his Pakistani heritage with Texas barbecue. Zain has quickly gained a reputation as one of the best in the state, and often they sell out within an hour. So how is he blending centuries of tradition from two different cultures and having what seems like overnight success? And how does he do all of this inside a tiny food truck? Well, we're about to find out. When I got to Sabar, Zain was already there working on the briskets.
So right now we have the briskets on.
Oh wow, those look good.
Yeah, so these have been on since 2 in the morning, so they're kind of starting to get some color on them and cook away for the next 10-12 hours probably.
Dang, so you get here at what, 1 in the morning?
Yeah, like 2 in the morning. Yeah, 2 in the morning. I'm an early morning guy, so I like kind of getting here early and getting done early.
It was interesting to see the customization Zain used for his pit and how he was able to optimize the limited space that he has to work with.
You know, we'll kind of just let it go right here, and that's kind of the fire that we're looking for right now. Probably like once every hour we'll just check them just to make sure nothing's burning up. And the foils that are on the edges, because the briskets start getting smaller, and so the foils, they don't move. And so we just kind of go in there and just kind of push them back together on the briskets. But, you know, it's like a snug fit and protecting the briskets from the heat.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's kind of crazy how much like they shrink.
Really?
Yeah, they shrink a lot.
Yeah.
If you have like a 15-pound brisket that you start with, by the time you trim it, it's going to be down to like 12 pounds. And by the time you cook it, it's going to be down to like 5 to 6 pounds, like at most.
Being out in a parking lot and having this small space seems like it adds even more of a challenge to an already really hard skill. I asked Zain what drives him to do this every day.
It's enjoyable, you know, just like being here in your own element, just kind of, you know, everybody is just now getting up, you know, we're already kind of a third way into our cook, and then, you know, just trying to get all the sides and everything rolling, and, you know, just keeps it fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Seems like it's like, it can be kind of different every day too.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it fun, you know, because the wood's different, the temperature's different, everything is different, all that like affects cooking.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it fun, is when, you know, you can tinker with it and try to, you know, make a product that's better. I feel like once you get kind of in your ways and you're just doing the same thing over and over, it probably makes your food not as good anymore, and it just gets boring. But I think those are just things that you learn as you're cooking, and, you know, just try to improve on them every time to make, you know, really good barbecue.
After seeing the pits, I was eager to see inside the food truck. It's amazing to me that this truck is responsible for some of the best and most unique barbecue coming out of Texas, and I was shocked when I found out what it used to be.
Yeah, this was a horse trailer, and this was an old trailer from Taco Bronco, which was like a sister project to Micklethwait in Austin.
Okay.
Hauled it from Austin up here. Never hauled anything in my life, and luckily it made it here.
Standing in this food truck, I realized how having such a small space really does create a challenge. But Zain has these logistics down to a science.
I think that's what makes barbecue, or just any cooking, you know, it's not like one size fits all. You know, there's so many videos online about how to cook and do this and that, but like you have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah,
know?
that
like
makes
in
a lot of
terms of
sense.
like just everything, even like the smoker, you know, like yes, the basic fundamentals, everything, those are like your building blocks, but like scheduling wise and smoker, everything is going to be different for me here versus for them.
Right.
You know? So,
Yeah.
In the morning, he's here by himself and has to find a balance between prep and checking the fire every 15 to 20 minutes. There's a patience to what he does. His motto is quality over quantity, and this overall thesis is explained through the name of his truck, Sabar BBQ.
Yeah, so it means patience. We're from Pakistan, so one of the main languages there is Urdu, and in Urdu it means patience. And I figured it was pretty relevant to Texas barbecue, you know, like
Yeah.
you need a lot of time with it, and I think anything in life, like you need time with stuff, and so that's kind of how the name kind of stuck.
No, it's super fitting. I mean, you're here at 2 a.m.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Trying to cook barbecue, and, you know, just everything. We like to take our time with everything, and
Yeah.
you know, anytime there's always like a hiccup or something that comes up, always kind of come back to the name and being like, hey, just have some patience with it, and it works for us.
That's cool.
I will say, I respect this philosophy a lot, and I can't wait to see how all the food comes together. Zain is starting off this morning making lentils for his dal jal, a traditional Pakistani dish that also takes time and patience.
We're gonna cook the lentils today, and we'll cook the rice in the morning. Dal chawal is like the ultimate Pakistani comfort food. So Pakistan's like a developing country, so there's not really any middle class there. You're either super rich or super poor. And this is kind of like our comfort food. It doesn't matter like what your background or whatever is. You just kind of crave this once a week or, you know, every other week. Instead of having like baked beans, pinto beans, this is kind of like our bean of choice. We'll cook them down and reheat them tomorrow for service, and then serve them over rice.
Zain starts with a base of orange and yellow lentils in a traditional stock called yakni, which he makes out of the leftover beef trimmings and vegetable trimmings. The lentils simmer for a few hours before the next step. Zain will find use for every part of meat and vegetable that is on this truck. There's no waste here. He has a deep care for people and understands that food insecurity is a real thing in many places. He's really humble about it, but he told me how he gives back to the people in Pakistan.
There's always people in need, especially there, because people over there, you know, have like real issues, like drinking water. That's a really big thing. Plumbing, you know, things that we like kind of take for granted here. Over there is like almost like a luxury item. Having clean water and just everything, man. It's kind of crazy how, you know, people over there live, but you know, I guess it's part of it.
Yeah.
The most common thing that we try to do is like there's like a project called Pani, which means water in Urdu.
Mm-hmm.
They do wells in like areas where water is really like not available at all.
Yeah.
You know, people have to walk miles and miles just to get some water, and even if they get there, it might not necessarily be clean water.
Right.
Yeah, we try to, at least every month, try to donate some wells out that way. Makes us feel good about our lives and kind of puts it into, you know, hey, we live a really luxury, good life out here. I think that's what it's all about, you know? Like, I think food is a good stepping stone for people. You haven't had, you know, a certain cuisine or whatever it may be, but then you try it and you enjoy it. Maybe that kind of makes you want to explore not even just the food, but just the culture about it. You know, maybe that might incline somebody to be like, oh, you know, like that food was really good. I didn't know Pakistan had that type of food or whatever. Might research it. You know, maybe they might even end up going to Pakistan. Obviously, we want the food, we want the barbecue, everything to be really good too. But I think it's just a nice stepping stone for people to know about or learn about Pakistani food.
Zain uses mostly the same proteins as Texas barbecue restaurants, but he uses flavors from traditional Pakistani dishes. He trims his briskets and seasons them with a blend of spices, salt, and pepper. And in his no-waste philosophy, he uses beef trimmings to make his kebab-inspired sausage. One thing that sets Zain apart from other barbecue places as well is there is no pork products on this truck. Pakistani culture is predominantly Muslim, and part of their beliefs are that they don't consume pork and that their proteins must be halal.
So the sausage is an all beef sausage. You know, after we trim all the brisket, we'll separate the fat and the meat, and then the silver skin, and then we'll throw it in here to get seasoned. And this is like the seasoning rub that we use right here. So it's got salt, pepper, garlic, onion, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg. So we'll just kind of season this meat right here that we have.
So, and everything that you guys do is halal, right?
Yeah, except for the turkey. The turkey is like, it depends week to week. Some weeks we've had it where it's halal, other weeks it's not.
How does meat become halal? And then two, how do you find and source halal meats?
So what makes it halal, first is like the animal should be ethically raised. And secondly, it should be like slaughtered in a humanely manner. The animal shouldn't know it's about to get slaughtered because that like shocks the animal and they like kind of stress out a little bit. So it should be done in like a humane way for them. And that's pretty much it. There's not really anything else to it.
Yeah, but that's tough because you can't just go to a random store and find something that's going to be halal.
Correct. But there are, especially when you're working with like a distributor like we do. So Creekstone Farms by default is halal. There's a good amount of halal beef around. Everything lamb that comes from New Zealand and Australia is going to be halal by default, kind of like Creekstone. Everything except for the turkey, depending on the week that you catch us on, will be halal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so this is kind of the meat, you know, we'll let it season right here. This will chill like this until Tuesday.
Yeah.
So sausage is always a week before, because like we'll season, like we trim all the briskets this week, right? And so we're like always a week ahead.
Yeah.
On sausage. As it sits in these spices, the flavors and everything is like much more evenly dispersed, and there's more flavor to it. Sometimes people, what they'll do is they'll like just grind the meat like that and then season it once it's minced. But I think in my opinion, this like grinds better. It absorbs the salt, so it firms up a little bit, so you get a cleaner grind out of it. And then also, because it's been sitting in the seasoning for a couple of days, the flavors would be like more pronounced, and you know, you get a better flavor with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we try not to have like any of the waste, and then all the other stuff, like these little small scraps and stuff, this will just go into stock.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's, you know, that's about it.
So with you having your food be halal too, like you're opening up the opportunity for a big population that normally wouldn't be able to eat Texas barbecue.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of spots that use creekstone beef that have like halal meat and stuff, and you know, people will go eat at these spots, but there's a lot of people that won't go to eat at these spots just because there is pork on the menu. So that kind of throws sometimes people away. And, you know, a lot of the restaurants, they won't like guarantee that there's no cross-contamination,
right? Which
is hard. You know, there's only so much pit space, the cutting board when you're serving.
Right.
So that could happen. But yeah, no, we get quite a bit of customers that are Muslims that come eat and, you know, trying barbecue for the first time. And, you know, it's always a nice kind of reaction to see what they think about it.
After wrapping up the sausage, the sun started to come up and Zain had to check on the fire. This really is a lot of hard work and patience. I couldn't help but wonder, what made him want to do this in the first place?
So where was that switch where you're like, all right, I've got this thing, I'm making myself brisket, now I want to like actually open up a restaurant?
Probably wasn't until a couple of years later, probably. And I think it was during like the sausage, we were talking about sausages or something. We don't do sausages in Pakistan, we do like kebabs. That's like our form of preservation. So it was like, oh, you know, why not use like all the flavors and spices that go into the kebab, but put that into a sausage? You know, Texas, we do turkey here. In Pakistan, we do tandoori chicken. So why not put those spices on the turkey, but cook it how we cook it in Texas? And from there, it just kind of snowballed like the meats, and then same with the sides. It's having something that's different, but also that kind of works with barbecue.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To where, you know, just all goes well together.
So while I was talking to Zain, I found out that Goldie's, the #1 barbecue in Texas, actually took Zain under their wing and helped mentor him, knowing that he'd someday leave and start his own barbecue restaurant.
I had a really hard time leaving Goldie's, that's for sure. I did not want to leave, but if I wasn't doing like Pakistani influenced Texas barbecue, I probably wouldn't have left. Like, I didn't want to just go and leave and open up another barbecue spot,
yeah,
you know, with like the same stuff. So I think that was kind of like a good, you know, push to get, you know, to leave. And there was a lot of support. Everybody there was really supportive.
I think it's really cool, like, one, that you took the initiative to like go and like learn. And I think it's really cool that they gave you the opportunity to do it, because it's pretty rare in the restaurant world, or really in any industry, where you're like, hey, come and learn this craft and then go and leave and start your own thing. Like, that's huge.
I think it's extremely rare, and I'm one of 3, so I think that speaks levels to the type of people Goldie's are. Obviously, they want to teach you everything, and I think as a business, if you have good employees, you're trying to retain them. But I think it speaks to their character of, hey, they'll like teach you everything that they know, plus some. I think it's inspiring, and then hopefully, you know, I can do the same thing for people that want to work here, you know. So you'll meet the crew, and there's a guy who's going to be here. He moved from New York to work here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's here for the year, and like he told me that from the get-go, but I was like, you know, if somebody's willing to move, that shows that they're committed to it, you know. So I think that's more important versus getting somebody who you might not know is committed, but they might know everything in barbecue. Yeah. I think that's, you know, somebody who's more committed and maybe their heart's not really into it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting too, because, you know, everybody that has that drive that you've had has had immense success in barbecue too. They're not just making just, you know, run-of-the-mill average barbecue. So it really does go to show that, like, if you're willing to put in the work, you know, someone with that mindset can do it.
It helps that we got to learn from the best, you know.
Yeah.
I think that really, really helps. And it's not only just cooking the barbecue. Like, they taught us like everything, how to run the business, how to treat your employees right, how to treat your customers right, and then just doing the right thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I think just taking all of that, it's just recipe for success.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think it's amazing to see how much the barbecue community here in Texas works together. Most people would think that they view each other as competition, but they look at it as more of a way to give back and build each other up. As we were talking, Omar showed up for the day, and it was perfect timing because the lentils were done, and now they had to create the takta to finish them off, which is a way to temper spices and enhance the flavor of the lentils. Omar starts by cooking red onion in a combination of beef and lamb tallow that they rendered from their meat trimmings. Then he adds in a mix of whole spices, including cashmere pepper, cumin seeds, black mustard seeds, ginger, and garlic. That cooks for a few minutes, and then comes the ground spices. A combination of Kashmiri powder, cumin, granulated garlic, granulated onion, coriander, turmeric, and other warming spices. Then he adds the tomatoes and lets everything cook down until the consistency is almost like a chili. Then, when it's ready, he adds it to the lentils. Man, the truck smelled so good, I could not wait to try these.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty long process, even though, like you say, it's easy, but I feel like it's
easy
a lot
because
of
we're
steps.
used to it. Like, we make this every week. There are like a lot of steps in just building the flavors, because when you try it, you'll see like certain things will hit you as you taste it as the time goes on.
All right, here we go. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. There's like such a layer of flavor. There's like a little bit of heat too in the back, but like a nice amount of heat. The crispy onions really make a big difference with the texture too.
Mm-hmm.
Once we like prepare it for tomorrow, we'll add the cilantro to it.
Is it cool for you to see people actually try like Pakistani food and like really enjoy it?
I think that's what makes it like rewarding, and then also just makes us feel good, you know, because that's why we do the plates. It's not like we're trying to make a bunch of money. It's because like we want people to try more than just the meat.
I think a couple weeks ago we had some people here for like the bass fishing tournament, I guess, and like they didn't know what lentils were. Like they've never come across them in their life. We had to like try and explain what lentils were. I guess like we're like, oh, they're like a kind of like beans and rice. And then they tried it and they were like blown away.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part. It's kind of sharing the culture. I mean, that's why I came here to work, is like learning how to, because I grew up eating like my mom and grandma would make this, but I didn't know how. And so like coming down here and learning more about the cuisine I grew up with.
After trying this food, I could tell that Omar really cared as much as Zain about what they were creating, and his commitment to learning is inspirational. I wanted to know from Omar's perspective on what he was going through, giving up his life in New York to come here just to learn how to make barbecue.
So I found this place like a year ago. I was in town for the eclipse with family. I was going to a different barbecue spot and missed a turn and was driving down Main Street and then saw the trailer with the Pakistan flag and the Texas flag. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Let me go check it out. And I looked it up on Instagram. And when I went back to New York, I messaged Zain. I'm like, hey, can I come down for a month just to learn? Like, I'm getting into barbecue up here. Like, you don't have to pay me. I just want to help out and watch. And he's like, sure, come down. So I came down for a month. It was super fun, learned so much. And then a couple months later, he had posted on his Instagram that he was going to be open on Sundays now and needed some help. So I just reached out and said, I'll move down for a year and help out and work.
That's huge.
So, yeah, it's been awesome. I think caring about the food you're serving is like huge. Like, we'll cut a tray every service day and try everything together, make sure everything is tasting well together, up to what we're used to tasting, just to make sure that it's good enough for the customer.
I think that's why we have like repeat customers, is because they know what they're getting with it. You know, there's weeks where sometimes something might not be where it needs to be, but you know, it's like kind of just for next week we know, okay, like this where we messed up and you know what we could do to make it better next week.
It's really inspiring to see the level of care that both Zain and Omar share about their food, and how much it means to them to spread their culture to new people who've never experienced it before. These are all unique dishes that speak to both cultures that Zain grew up in. You can tell that he thinks of every small detail of the process, even the way he's painted his food truck.
I mean, this is beautiful too. Like,
they
I
did
love
a badass job. So like, this is obviously in English. That's in Urdu. Sabar is like spelled like that in like the Urdu language. You know, they just did a good job with it, you know, but then there's some Texas touches in it. They got like the blue bonnets and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just truck art in Pakistan is like a big deal to people. They're very prideful of that stuff. So that, you know, they spend more money on the decoration and ornaments of the truck than the actual truck is worth. And then they put so much metal on it to where the gas mileage is like half of what it's supposed to be, but they don't care because it looks really cool. And so, you know, we kind of wanted to do the kind of, not over the top like that, but kind of have some nuances of that. And so ours, like kind of on the top is in Urdu lettering right there, is like different, you know, one of them says like maza hot, maza garam, and those will just mean like delicious, fresh, hot, you know, so hopefully that kind of goes with the food too.
Yeah. And you're kind of taking, I mean, I think it's cool that you're bringing like a little Texas flair into it, but you're keeping that tradition alive.
Yeah, the horse trailer. I mean, you know, it's like the horse trailer with the Pakistani art to it. You know? So it's kind of cool. And then this is like, I think this is something cool. This was like, so we got like merch and stuff made. There was a girl in California, I found her online, loved her artistic stuff and stuff. And so I got her all of our merch made from her. And this was like one of the slogans that she came up with was Howdy Yar. So Yar is, the literal meaning in Urdu means like homie, friend, that's the actual meaning, but it also gets used in the dialect of, you know, when we say, oh man, like they say, oh Yar, like that's like their way of kind of, you know, just like kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, but yeah, it gets used as that a whole lot more. And so I think this also kind of gives it a nice touch, you know.
And next up on the barbecue tray is a dessert that they both grew up eating called gadrella, which is made with carrots, milk, sugar, cardamom, and a pinch of saffron. The carrots are shaved and cooked down slowly for a long time to draw out the natural sweetness and get the right texture for the dish.
This is more of like a winter dessert, because in Pakistan there's not like they have refrigeration, but it's not like here. So everything that's in season gets used like in the season. So in the winters, carrots are a winter fruit or vegetable, and so there's like a special occasion, a wedding or something like that. That's typically when this gets served, because it does take a while to cook. And stuff that's in season just tastes so much better.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Basically, this is just gonna melt.
Yeah, it's gonna be slow cooked.
Simmer down. It'll shrink in size. It'll kind of turn more into like pudding almost. You kind of just want it to have a really soft consistency. So it's kind of similar to the lentils where we simmered it for, it's about the same. I guess this is a little longer process of simmering, but similar process. You just add a bit at a time so it doesn't clump up and you can get it all incorporated well.
Nothing that we do, at least like in like the non-barbecue side, is like nothing is crazy like technique based. It's just like following each step and just making sure everything is timed right. Versus like, you know, in baking there's a lot more to it, or just like puddings and stuff, you know, it's a lot more like technique based. Ours is like just making sure that the ingredients are measured out right, and then just making sure that they're like put in an order.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's also kind of cool because it's similar to the barbecue process where it's like low and slow.
Yeah,
you know,
for
it
sure.
takes some time.
That's what, yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's just a few steps, but you got to nail every step. One step's off, and then it throws the whole dish off.
A lot of barbecue restaurants, it's like, all right, yeah, the barbecue is like low and slow, but the sides are like able to put them together pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But like everything here is patience.
Yeah, even with like our salads, like we kind of need to let them sit in their liquids and the kind of dressing we put them in to make sure that kind of the vegetables and fruits all soak it in.
After a slow simmer, the gadrella was ready to eat. They added roasted nuts on top for texture at the end.
Here we go. Yeah. Oh, wow. It doesn't taste like carrot at all.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Almost like rice texture.
It reminds me of like Portuguese sweet rice.
A lot of people just won't be able to tell it's carrots because you just expect a firmness to a carrot. You can cook it so it's almost like, tastes like a sweet rice dish.
The nuts are like a perfect
balance
there too.
We'll also offer this as a side, so it kind of helps push people towards it. Like they don't have to order a whole order of it. They can just have it as a warm side on their plate.
That's kind of nice too, because sometimes you want sort of a little sweet bite in between that salty, rich.
Yeah, for sure.
The team kept working through the day, prepping for service the next day. I came back the next day and Zain had been there since 2 a.m. again, working on one of the most interesting proteins that they sell, and one that I'm the most excited for, the lamb ribs. Not only does Zain take inspiration from his Pakistani heritage, but he takes influence from other Muslim cultures as well. And his inspiration for these ribs comes from Xi'an's Muslim Quarter in China, a place shaped by centuries of spice trade and Islamic culinary tradition.
This is like the base coating that we'll do on it, and then the Szechuan rub on top of this one. This is the rubs for the lamb rub. And so what we'll use like the chili crisp. This is like what we serve the lamb ribs with, but we'll use this as like a binder, so it kind of helps stick to the rub a little better.
Oh, cool.
So with this, what we'll do is we'll go with a pass of salt and pepper first, and we'll season the bottom of the ribs first. And then we'll go in with the Szechuan rub and kind of just give it a nice, pretty liberal coat. And then we'll kind of just do the same thing on the top. Doesn't need a whole lot, just like a thin sheen. So it is like mostly, I would say, the salt and pepper rub.
Right.
And then this is just the rub, kind of finishing it all. Yeah, that's it. And this is ready to go on the smoker.
There's a lot of thought and patience that go into the concepts of the food here, which is really inspiring to see. As the morning went on, the staff started to get the food truck prepared for opening. There was such a level of calmness that I wasn't expecting. You could tell that everyone there was really happy where they were and excited to share their food. As soon as they opened, the line started to form and they started pumping out food. After just about an hour, all the food was sold out. Luckily, before they sold out, Zain cut us a tray so we could try everything. And our good mutual friend Cooper from Bar BBQ happened to be in town. Cooper's also never had Zain's food before, so we all sat down to eat the tray together.
How should I tackle this? What would you suggest? Like, what order should I go for? Or what do you want me to try first?
I think everything. I mean, you can eat whatever you want to. Maybe the sausage.
Yeah.
Maybe the sausage, the
first?
brisket, anything. Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
you can go wrong with any of it. You have it by itself too, but then here's like kind of the bread that you want with it.
Now, Zane, I'm gonna break my carb streak for you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Dude,
There's the naan. If you want to try it, that's like the green sauce is what you want to try it
you want
with.
to try it with the green sauce?
Yeah, green sauce, and then here's some pickled onions that you can try it with that first.
I love the seasoning on the brisket, man.
Yeah.
It's like perfect salt and everything, like you would expect a brisket to be, but then it has that like nice spice, not like spicy. It's got like this warming vibe on the back.
Heck yeah.
Dude, that green sauce.
It's real like fresh, like minty.
That's how we eat barbecue in Pakistan. So like the green sauce, like that's our dipping sauce. Like with kebabs and everything, like beef, chicken, whatever it may be. So I think with the brisket, the sausage, and the turkey, if you want to have a sauce, you want to go with the green sauce.
Yeah.
And then with the lamb ribs, you want to go with the red sauce.
With the red sauce?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
It was fantastic, Zane.
Yeah, this was really good, man.
It's beautiful.
All right, I really want to eat this lamb.
Yeah, go for the lamb.
Wow, look at that. There's a lot of more meat on that than I thought there was going to be.
Yeah, for sure. They don't shrink too much on them.
All right, I'm gonna hit this without the sauce first. Wow. It's not like super lammy either.
Yeah.
Like it's not gamey, which is really nice. And
It's
there's
like
a ton
domestic lamb.
yeah, there's a ton of good meat on here.
Yeah.
I want to try the sauce too.
Yeah, try it with the sauce. The red sauce, I think it goes really well with it.
Oh, that chili sauce, man.
Yeah. I think it goes good with the lamb.
It goes really good.
That rub is fantastic.
You know, these are all flavors that you're super accustomed to eat, and then you're sharing it with people that aren't used to eating it and seeing them react so well to it. How does that feel? Is it cool?
It makes it worthwhile, like kind of see, you work the whole week to have people eat it within, 20, 30 minutes. So no, it feels good.
We'll go turkey next. I'm stoked for this because tandoori flavors are some of my favorite as well. Man, that thing's so moist too. Dude,
So good.
this is how you should eat turkey.
Oh
This
yeah.
is really good. It's chat, that's how you
Yeah,
pronounce
fruit
it?
chat,
Fruit
yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
After eating like that really rich lamb bite, man, that's so
Yeah, it kind
refreshing.
of breaks it through.
Because there's like acid and sweetness in this.
Yeah.
Everything on the plate was fantastic. The sides really helped bring a cohesiveness to this barbecue tray. We also got to try a protein we hadn't seen on the truck yet, and this was his burnt end nahari.
So obviously we're in Texas, so burnt ends everybody knows about, best part of the brisket. And then nahari is a national dish of Pakistan. So it's like a rich, flavorful, slightly spicy curry. And so we'll smoke the brisket for a little bit, and then we'll pretty much simmer it down with the curry to where all those kind of flavors kind of, mesh together and you get a good flavorful bite, hopefully.
Dude, that was good.
Oh yeah.
That's a good curry too.
Yeah.
I could eat bowls of that every day.
We kept eating the tray, and we only had one thing left to try, the kebab sausage.
All right. Oh my God.
The casing's fantastic.
Yeah.
The lamb casing.
Lamb, maybe. Lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like this better than a kebab, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do too, because it's like the juices stay in it.
Yeah.
Like a kebab has to be cooked like perfect, or else it dries out on you.
Right.
To where in the sausage, like if the bind and stuff is good, then it's like a juicy plus the flavors in it,
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I will say this.
I agree. This is the best side.
Yeah, that's the
There
best
is
side.
not there's not 10 better barbecue spots in the state doing this right here. Zane, this is fantastic, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
That right there,
that's
that's a top 5 side I've ever had in barbecue.
I agree. Honestly, kind of anywhere. Like it's so unique to have the smoked brisket in there. Like I could eat that all day, every day.
Something I really like about it is you didn't bark it up. I just feel like that would like
gets
overpower.
chewy.
Yeah,
it
like
gets kinda
I
chewy.
love the just braised meat to it aspect.
I was blown away at how good this barbecue was. I'm not exaggerating. From someone who's eaten a lot of barbecue, this is legitimately some of the best I've ever had. So how is it possible that Zain took flavors from both his Texas and Pakistani heritage and created something so wonderful? When you break it down, Zain's passionate about who he is and where he comes from. He cares about people and their experience when they try his food. And I think it all circles back to the name of the truck, Sabar, or patience. Subscribe for the next one.